Joining us for a regular meeting. We've had so many special meetings. We're glad to see you all for a regular meeting. And we have lots of good business to take care of tonight. But we'd like to begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. So we'll ask our Vice Commander for the American Legion to come on down.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. At this time, we'll ask that you please join us in a moment of silent reflection that you can use to gather your thoughts, prepare for the meeting, or in silent prayer. Thank you very much. Council members, you all have the minutes from April 14th, where we had a special meeting, April 14th, where we had our regular meeting, and April 21st, which was a special meeting. I know there were a couple of typo changes in, I believe, the April 21st minutes, but are there any other changes, or do we have a motion to accept as have been amended?
Motion to accept.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, at our April 21st meeting, there was a little bit of a conversation as we were in the middle of a process. And so I got together with council, and we have a statement that I'm going to share, but it is really a statement from all of us. As part of the budget process, members of City Council determined it was necessary to increase the personal property tax rate from $2.44 to $2.55 per $100 of assessed value. While no one wanted to raise these rates and all members acknowledged the difficulty such a decision can pose for our residents, they all agreed that additional revenue was essential to continuing advancing the city's priorities. At the City Council meeting on April 7th, the City Treasurer expressed opposition to the rate increase, stating it would create additional workload for her office. While Council recognized that any change in taxes or fees requires administrative adjustments and that the personal property tax in particular presents unique challenges due to the Commonwealth's relief program, they ultimately concluded that the need for revenue outweighed these concerns. On April 21st, the Treasurer informed staff she believed the proposed rate increase was illegal. To ensure compliance with state law, staff consulted with the Commissioner of Revenue and the City Attorney, both of whom confirmed there was no legal barrier to this increase. The Treasurer also raised concerns that the office's technology systems could not accommodate the change. Staff reviewed these concerns and confirmed that the Treasurer's systems, along with other city systems, could indeed manage the updated rate. All the Treasurer's questions were answered before the April 21st meeting. Despite this, the Treasurer maintained her objections. During the April 21st meeting, while Council was in the process of adopting the 2025 taxes and fees, the Treasurer interrupted a motion on the floor to again express her objections. As she was out of order and her concerns had already been addressed prior to the meeting, the Mayor did not recognize her. The Mayor explained the situation to those in attendance and to viewers watching online. The Treasurer continued to interject, inaccurately claiming the Council was deceiving taxpayers. The entire process is challenging on its own, even without inaccurate comments about it. The City has been fully transparent throughout the budget process, and if anyone has any questions or concerns, they are always welcome to reach out to staff or any member of Council. And we just wanted to share that because there had been some folks questioning why during that meeting, I didn't recognize the Treasurer when she spoke up. So that's the explanation for that. And if you do have questions, feel free to ask any one of us. You can ask city staff, and we are more than happy to have that discussion with you. Okay, moving on. This is time for citizen comment on public matters, and we invite you to come down to the podium. Please use the microphone, state your name for the record, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. The microphone is now open for citizen comments.
Hello, my name is Bill Fleischer, Radford citizen. During stressful times like this, it tends to bring out the character of people within government and private citizens. And I realize that the budget crisis that we're in right now predates a lot of your service. And so I just wanted to thank you for your service, because I know you're not in it for the pay. In fact, some of you have even suggested giving up your pay. So firstly, I wanted to thank you for working through this and serving. But in that, I'd like to make a couple of suggestions. You know, back when we had the flood, it occurred to me when I saw places like Asheville that first responders were overwhelmed. And I wondered at the time if we couldn't have a volunteer citizens group that could be called up to help and assist the first responders in cases like that. But I also thought, well, maybe during this time, perhaps, there could be volunteer groups throughout the city. I know that, like with Arbor Day and things, people get together and do stuff, but on a more regular basis to assist in the city public works. I'm sure there's lots of people that'd be willing to do something, whether it's cleanup or fix fences or whatever. And also, from time to time, you've had review boards for property that, you know, these little slivers that are wanting to be made more contiguous. And there's a stipend of $50 that you pay people to do that. I would also suggest that there's people that would volunteer to do that for nothing. I realize these are little things, and you're looking for millions right now, but all of these little things can add up, and it's just some suggestions, and I'd be willing to help too. That's all.
Thank you so much. Are there any other citizens who would like to make a comment for the public record?
My name's Wayne Duncan. Since I got the time wrong for the meeting last Monday, and I wasn't here to observe what was going on, can you tell me what the treasurer thought was dishonest?
Sure, I'll be glad to respond to that. I read a lot about the different objections that she had. One of the additional commentaries that, and I will just assume I know all of this, was that as we're spending money using the current tax system to upgrade to be able to handle the new personal property tax, our goal is to change over to the Munis system and to move the treasurer's office to that, which has been a goal for a number of years, and we've been unable to achieve that goal.
Okay. I think the best way for me to answer my question is to get your take on what it was, and then I'll talk to her.
Sure.
When I go by the courthouse.
Well, as far as I know, that is what it was. I'm not aware of anything else. I know she spoke with a number of people that day. I don't know if anyone else has anything that they can add that gives any more light to that.
Okay.
But thank you for your question.
I'd just like to add to what the mayor is saying. The meeting prior, we actually had the department heads come up and speak, and she was given the opportunity to speak to council, of which she did. And so some of the issues she was bringing up, we'd already actually addressed the meeting prior. So all of that is also recorded, so you can go back and look at that as well, and that might help. But it was just at that point a little bit redundant. We'd already covered that, and she had the ability, as did all of our department heads, to come and speak to us to make sure we wanted their voice to be heard. We understand for every action there's a reaction, there's an impact to every decision we make, and we wanted to make sure that we gave voice to those people in leadership within the city that we're going to have to be flexible in addressing some of that on the front line. So just so you know, she did have the opportunity to speak, and I appreciated the input from all departments, including Janet, but at that point it was a bit redundant. But just for your information, you might go back before you speak to her even, and you can hear all the comments. Again, everything's recorded.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, any other citizens who have a comment or question for the public record? Seeing none, we will close that portion of the meeting and we will move forward. And we do have a proclamation. The month of May is recognized as National Cities, Towns, and Villages Month. The proclamation commemorates the strength of local leadership, the influence of the impact of local programs and operations on communities, and recognizes that local governments are the bedrock of democracy. Jenny? Jesse?
Or Jenny?
Jen.
Jenny? No? Proclamation, May 2024, National Cities, Towns, and Villages Month. Whereas the National Leagues of Cities was founded in 1924 in Lawrence, Kansas, and as the American Municipal Association by state municipal leagues seeking more coordination and national representation as cities, towns, and villages expanded rapidly. Whereas the nonpartisan National League of Cities is the oldest and the largest organization representing municipal governments throughout the United States, representing the interests of more than 19,000 cities, towns, and villages across the country. Whereas today the National League of Cities works in partnership with 49 state municipal leagues across the country to strengthen local leadership, drive innovation, and influence the federal policies that impact local programs and operations. Whereas the voice of cities, towns, and villages in Washington, D.C., the National League of Cities has successfully championed federal legislative solutions that support municipalities and has worked closely with Congress and the executive branch to educate policymakers on the realities of local implementation. Whereas local governments are the bedrock of American democracy, providing 336 million residents with the most accountable, responsive, inclusive, ethical, and transparent government in the world. Whereas the nation's smallest villages to its largest cities, America's local governments have been essential in transforming the United States of America into the greatest, most influential nation in world history. Whereas the city of Radford was first incorporated in 1885 and is proudly served today by city council and a municipal workforce of 337 dedicated public servants. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Radford City Council hereby proclaims May 2025 as the National Cities, Towns, and Villages Month in celebration of America's local governments and the National League of Cities Historic Centennial Anniversary. I make a motion that we accept this proclamation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Happy National Cities, Towns, and Villages Month. Moving on to old business, Ordinance 1816 is an ordinance to amend to clarify effective dates on our tax rates. And last week, we did support the fiscal year 2025-26 budget through taxes, fees, and utility rates. Ordinance 1860 is an ordinance to amend Ordinance 1813, which established the rates on April 21st. However, the effective dates for the rates need to be clarified. And as such, with this ordinance, the tax rates for real estate, personal property, machinery, and tools are set on an annual basis effective January 1st of 2025. So that's this past January. And for real estate, it's due in June and December. Meals and hotel occupancy tax begin on July 1st, 2025, which starts with the fiscal year. So the change to the meals tax and the hotel occupancy tax won't happen until July 1st. Real estate, personal property, machinery, and tools are all on an annual basis that would have been retroactive to January 1st. So do we have a motion to approve Ordinance 1816, which clarifies the effective dates for the tax rates? So moved. We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Having heard 4 affirmative votes, we can dispense with a second reading if so desired. Do we have a motion to do so? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Under new business, we have our fantastic Chamber of Commerce. Stan McKinney, the director of the Chamber, is here with the Chamber Board to talk a little bit about what they've done in the last year with their annual report, and then for us to talk about how we're moving forward. So Dan, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Horton. Good to see you again, 2 times in one day. So we're a little late presenting the annual report for 2024, and to be quite honest, when I was preparing this PowerPoint, I had to dig through my memory banks to try to remember what happened in 2024. We're almost halfway through 2025. But I want to thank you all for your support and all the showing up and being there at different events. Serve with Kelly on Joint Commission. Joint Commission's been fantastic the past couple of years, so I applaud you for being a part of that and driving that train forward. So with that being said, I'm going to roll through this PowerPoint. It won't take me long, I promise. So first I want to publicly say a huge thank you to our board of directors. Jesse serves on our board of directors as a city council liaison, as does Kim Repass with the city of Radford. I have several board members here with me today. So I have Abram Williams with First Street Properties as our president, Dee Dee Kennedy, Michelle Beal, and that's it. But we have an incredible board. Our newest member to our board is Rachel Doyle, owner of Radford Coffee Company and Hazelby Catering, a very talented person by obvious means. So a word from me. So this is where I try to go back and try to sum up what I feel 2024 was about. And so I think Radford City has quite a diverse small business population. So the heart and soul of the city is lived through our small businesses. These are the mom and pops, if you will, that have less than 10 employees, and they go to work every day and do what they love to do. So I'm very much live their life and try to be a support and resource for them. Probably the biggest thing that I've been jumping on the past year and a half is to create collaboration and synergy. So as for example, today and even Friday of this past week, we've had multi-chamber ribbon cuttings for our members. It just creates a whole lot more people coming out and supporting these businesses. Just love the energy that creates. And so really quickly, goals achieved. This is kind of just a recap for the past year. So we've secured new memberships and we've strengthened current partnerships. I've already mentioned the other chambers. I serve on Joint Commission, which is the City of Radford and Radford University. That's been a very positive thing the past 2 years. So Melissa and Kelly, thank you very much. And Jenny. And Craig. So as far as what I try to do is I try to support our members, right? So part of how I do that is to create a greater social media awareness. I try very hard to keep up with the Facebook algorithms, and I have some numbers and stats on that on a future slide, so I won't dwell on that. Try to highlight and promote members. We do radio show appearances. We do member spotlights. 2024, we also did 2 women's leadership conferences. They were just 2-hour events, but one was led by Dr. Angela Joyner with Radford University, and that was a very well-attended event. And then I did one that was more of a panel-based, which Dee Dee was a part of, and that was very well received. So this year, we're looking to do 4 of those type events, so stay tuned for that. They're getting ready to be announced. I'm working with the Small Business Development Corporation as well to try to put correct information material in these people's hands. Small business season, I think all year long is small business season. American Express seems to think it's just during the holidays, but they provide advertising type material, stickers and whatnot, clings that go on windows and that sort of thing to help promote small business. Oops. Some of our new members for 2024, Radford on the River probably ought not be up there. But anyway, Hunn's Bike Shop, Mountain Mutts, Mountain Lake Lodge, Blue Gorilla, which their ribbon cutting is actually this Friday, 4 o'clock, in case you're interested. They're located right on Main Street. The Vault by Cooks, New River Blends, and going on, Geese and Caldwell is obviously not a new business, but they re-up with the chamber just recently. Of course, we just celebrated today their 80th anniversary of business, so that was exciting. Unfortunately, La Katrina didn't survive, so sad to see them go. But so moving into our social media impact, I kind of mentioned this before. These are kind of astounding numbers that little old Radford Chamber can put out there, but our reach on Facebook is just shy of 250,000. Our views is over 500,000. So if anybody asks, what can the chamber do for you? If you join and you have a Facebook presence, I follow you. I promote, I reshare whatever you got going on. So you get the benefit of that. The other interesting stat there is the demographic reach. Our Radford citizenry is just over 30%, and outside Radford is sitting right at 70%. So not only do I have a huge reach number-wise, but I'm also reaching a lot of people outside of the city of Radford. Constant Contact, that's mainly where our newsletters go out and other information. So, for example, the reception tomorrow night that we talked about, which was a subcommittee for the Joint Commission to showcase to students what they think that can happen in a space that's open in downtown Radford. That gets pushed out on my email. So all those type of events that happen in the city. So anybody's welcome to join my email list. So please reach out if you'd like to do that. Chamber involvement. I'm going to run down the list really quick. So we do a business over breakfast every month. That's a professional networking event. After hours events are kind of the same thing, except obviously they're after business hours. Last year we participated in the Easter egg hunt at Bissett. We do a golf tournament every year. That's another slide coming up. We were a partner for the summer concert series. We were involved in the Mary Draper Ingalls Festival weekend planning. We also participate at Radford University for a club fair and the Highlander Festival. The Halloween Tree Trail, which is like 1,000 kids that descend on East Main Street for 2 hours. I always try to attend the polar plunge, but I am not a fan of getting in the water. Best of Virginia is a magazine that is dedicated to Virginia, so they always do a best of every year. And we have businesses right here in Radford that always end up on the list in those categories, either first, second, or third place. So ribbon cuttings, we did a bunch last year. We have a YouTube channel, the Radford Chamber of Commerce. I try to put as much video content as I can up on that. And then last year we also did a ACE program donation to New River Community College on behalf of Radford City High School students. Our golf tournament, if you can't tell, it's very well attended and we always have a good time. Radford Drug, Scott Armentrout's always been our title sponsor. Doesn't even question anything. So for the 10th annual, in that top right corner of the picture, you see a little cup up there. We did an aluminum cup in commemoration of our 10th annual. every golfer got one of those. So we just have a blast. This year's is May 19th. Team spots are still available. Sponsorships are still available. A little selfless plug there. So rolling into 2025, and like I said, we've already kind of been almost halfway through this year. But always try to continue our social media presence, our YouTube channel, business channel. We try to keep our website current. We're currently working on trying to put together some sort of calendar, which is almost a four-letter word, it seems like, to some committees. Obviously, increased membership. I've already talked about the seminars that we're talking about doing. Obviously, we'll continue our partnerships with the city, economic development, tourism, and Radford University. And then my passion is to help provide our members a professional networking environment to where they can make connections and do more business. So I went back and forth on whether I should include our gala this year. We moved it from November to February of this year. But since the awards were for 2024 winners, I went ahead and put up there. So those are just a few pictures that from the event. So rolling through the award winners. So 2024 Business of the Year was BT's. Kelsey Jones accepted the award. Small Business of the Year was Long Way Brewing. Nonprofit of the Year for 2024 was Vittles for Vets. And I'm going to take a second just to pause here for a second. So the way that people vote for the winners is that you have to attend our gala. These are the people that are obviously invested in the chamber and our community. There's no politics. You have an hour to vote once you get there. It kind of takes all the guesswork out of it. It puts a little more stress on me because I have to have people count the ballots and get them to the presenter. But I just wanted to state that for the record that we try to take all the politics out of it, I guess, or the favoritism, or on the flip side of that, anybody and everybody can nominate a business. I don't disqualify if you're not a chamber member nominating somebody. And then finally, our 2024 Business Person of the Year was Keith Weltons with Ameriprise Financial. And that's all I have for the annual report. I rolled through that very quickly, so I will apologize.
You did great, Dan. Thank
So
you.
any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I heard you say we had some ribbon cuttings last week. Did I hear you say that?
Yeah, Pete Dye River Course did a grand reopening of their golf course.
Okay. How is the best way for me to know those are coming up?
So you need to provide me a good email address for you.
That's the
And
best
I'll
way?
put you in the system and you'll get everything that I send out.
Got you covered. Thank you.
And that goes for everybody, member or not. I don't discriminate. I mean, if you want to know what's going on through the chamber, I'm an open book.
No, Dan, we appreciate you so much, and you've been a part of this journey since we had to sort of reimagine the chamber about a dozen years ago, and thank you
Yeah, a
for...
little bit more than that.
Yeah, is it? I'm getting old, I guess, but I appreciate all that you've done, and, you know, that social media piece is especially important because that's how a lot of people do find out about events and activities, and you've done a tremendous job expanding and growing that, sharing the stories of our businesses and our people, and we really are appreciative. Is there anything else for Dan?
Yeah, Dan, I noticed under goals, one of the goals that you didn't hit on, I know that we've been working on, is the advertisements at the rec center and the ballparks. I know some of our fields are in a little,
Worse for wear.
yeah, well, repair right now, but we're working on those. But I know that you might want to mention that there is some opportunity for businesses to get their name in front of people that might be in the community attending sporting events.
Absolutely. So at the rec center building, the walking track fence, if you will, railing, overlooking the basketball courts. You can put a banner on that railing, and it's a $500 annual cost, and it actually includes the cost of the banner as well. So if you have, so if you're a business that caters to people that might attend the rec center and/or businesses that might have people who come from out of town for tournaments and whatnot. I know they do basketball and wrestling, and I think they're doing pickleball in there as well. So just a lot going on. So it might be just a good way to stir up a little bit of business your way. Absolutely.
What is the goal in regards to numbers in this next year?
As
Is there a certain goal number that you're looking at trying to increase the advertisements about? I'm kind of throwing you softballs because I know we've kind of talked about these things, but just so people know, this is something that Dan is actively working on. So is there a number that you're thinking you're wanting to see an increase?
I would like to think that it would be easy to get 10 more additional businesses, which would be a 200% increase in what's there now. I think it's to your point, I think it's a hidden gem for our businesses here in Radford.
Dan, I just wanted to thank you for the presentation. I like the analytics and the numbers you can kind of put behind what you could provide for the small businesses in the community, and you always do a great job. Your events are very well attended and very well done. I think that the chamber and you will play a large part in what we're trying to do to rebuild the city in a lot of ways, and enhancing our small businesses and growing that base, that tax revenue base. So appreciate all the work you're doing, and as we try to move the needle, working with you and your board to really promote the businesses we have and grow new ones. I think will be vital to what we want to do. So thanks for all you do.
All right, thank you.
And I got one more
Softball?
to throw at you here. So what I will say is, being on this board, this is again another one of my working boards. They keep us busy, and I know a goal of Dan's and the entire board is to make sure that we keep diversifying the activities to bring more people in and to engage with more folks, but also for businesses to see that there's lots of different benefits in being a part of the chamber. Do you want to talk about our new 5 after 5? And then I have the dates in front of me, so then I can share the dates if you want to cover that.
So that's another collaboration. It's a multi-chamber. It's the Montgomery County Chamber, Pulaski Chamber, and the Radford Chamber have come together with Keith Walton's. He's the idea guy, so I'll leave it there. But we kind of came up, and Michael Abraham from Pete Dive River Course came together to discuss a possible way to do an after hours. So we've nicknamed it 5 after 5. So you can actually play 5 holes of golf at 5 o'clock on a given Tuesday evening, I believe. It's an after hours event as well. So the restaurant and the bar will be open. So there'll be professional networking opportunities to talk with people. The golfing should take no more than an hour. It's a match play format. So, I mean, it should go pretty quickly as far as that's concerned.
Well, apparently, apparently Melissa does not agree with you currently, but.
So I would be right there looking for my golf ball with you. So, and not to mention the rivers right there too, which is a whole different ball game. Because anytime there's water involved, my ball tends to want to go swimming. I don't get it.
Those dates real quick. So we're looking at Tuesday, June 24th, July 22nd, August 12th, September 16th, October 7th. The arrival time is 4:45 for check-in. The event's from 5:30 to 7:30. Draft beers for $5, food special for $5, and it's only $20 per person to play 5 holes. And I think they were bantering about maybe even having some local music that will come and perform as well. So I think that's a really good idea, and I like the fact that we're collaborating with other chambers. So I do appreciate on the board, there's people with ideas, but there are people that actually have to do the work too. So I appreciate you very much, Stan. Thank you.
Thank you. So can I move into the MOU?
I was going to say, we now need to have a discussion of an MOU. Every year, we have an annual memorandum of understanding between the city and the chamber that outlines the role for both. The term is for July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. And
Can I interject real quick?
Sure.
So the board and myself, we obviously know the tireless work you guys have done for trying to get the budget straight and make sure the city is able to go forward. So we took a look at our numbers. So of the $18,000 that we typically request, $4,000 of that is for the Festival of Lights. The Festival of Lights is actually fairly well funded, and that's a whole nother topic we probably need to talk about offline. But in lieu of that, it could be reduced to $14,000 for the chamber, and we could certainly revisit that going forward. I would love to have the chamber not reliant on outside funds like this, but unfortunately, we're kind of in that little in-between space. So with that being said, I just want to thank you for any consideration you give us, and I'll leave it up, turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you, Dan, and we do appreciate that. As you know, we've left no stone unturned trying to find additional money as we move through this challenging cash time. So, Council, you all have the MOU. Short of the change to the finances, are there any questions regarding the role of the chamber and the role of the city?
I don't think there's any questions. I just want to say I appreciate the gesture from you and your board to help us out. So I appreciate that very much, and I appreciate all you guys do.
So do we have a motion to adopt the MOU for 2025-26 with the understanding that the amount would be $14,000 that the city would provide to the chamber for our portion of the agreement?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And then we will come back and take care of any appropriation or any change we have to later, but I think we're good on that. So thank you, Dan.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
We
it.
appreciate you for everything. And thank
And
you,
thank you
Abram.
to
Thank you
this
to all of our
board.
board members. We
Yeah.
appreciate you all.
And thank you for, for certainly understanding our position and being fully transparent and assisting us where you can. I really do sincerely appreciate that.
Our second item of new business we need to move on to is the development of the Glades Golden Triangle property. We approved the purchase agreement for the sale of a 21.5 acre lot to Golden Triangle on November 12, 2024. They've requested to subdivide that acreage to allow for development of 55 single-family homes. The subdivision lots meet requirements of the zoning ordinance. The Planning Commission met on April 21st and recommended council approve the subdivision. Melissa, do you have anything you want to share with us this evening, or should we just briefly go through this subdivision?
I was just going to say, for clarification, it's actually 54 lots. Originally, the first go-round was 55, but it's been reduced to 50.
Okay.
Just as a side note, like previous developments by Golden Triangle, this will be, they will have an HOA as well, covenants, homeowners covenants go along with it, except for lots 52, 53, 54. So, but the majority of the property of the
And that's because those three lots are not contiguous with the others, and they are adjacent to Morton Street, right?
Besides that, staff has been, we're on our third review of comments, Foresight and our developer, they're very anxious to move forward, but we've just got a couple more details.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. Seth, you're on the Planning Commission. Anything you want to add?
No, I think we're excited for this development, and when you talk about being able to move Radford forward and really grow the new revenue generation, this will move the needle. So I appreciate Golden Triangle's commitment and willingness to build and invest in Radford. That's what we're looking for, and their product speaks for itself. It's been very well received in the developments that they've already done. So I think we're excited for this, and I think it's going to be a great addition to Radford for everyone involved. So thank you.
Thank you, Seth. We have two things we need to do tonight. We need to approve the subdivision plat, and you have that, council. Do we have a motion to approve the subdivision plat for 54 lots within this property?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And then we also need to approve the development agreement that you have as well. Is there any comment or question regarding that? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and I'll add to my comments to Seth's. I am thrilled to see this multi-million-dollar development in West Radford taking place. New homes, new families coming to town, exciting new things happening for our community. Over the last 7 years or so, we've had over $100 million of new investment in the city in many, many different areas, in homes, in retail, in commercial sites, in new businesses and new opportunities, and this just continues that growth and improvement for the city. So we are excited, and thank you again to Golden Triangle for investing in the city of Radford, as well as all the people who will end up buying the properties. Moving forward to item 3, we do need to make an appointment to boards and commissions. Onward NRV is the marketing arm for the New River Valley and the city of Radford, helping to share our story nationwide and worldwide. Kim Repass serves on the board of directors and executive committee, and Abram Williams serves on the board of directors. Would we like to reappoint them to those roles?
I guess my question would be is whether we're a paying member or not, will these seats still be available? Because there's been a lot of discussion within the budget about hitting pause on that commitment. Do we have any clarification on that?
We do not as of yet, but what I would suggest this evening is making these appointments, and then if there is something that's subject to change, we'll come back to council and make you aware of that. But
Okay.
All right.
All right, thank you, Craig.
So again, I'll open the floor. Do we have a motion to accept Kim and Abram as our representatives for the board of directors, and then Kim as our representative on the executive committee?
Have we heard? Yeah, Abram, is that something you're good? And have we heard from
Yes.
Kim?
Conversation was held with Kim.
yes.
Okay.
Thank you for your service.
Still waiting for a motion. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We have another appointment we need to make. Currently, David Ridpath, the former city manager, and I serve on the Peppers Ferry Regional Wastewater Treatment Authority. We don't have any alternates, and we do need to have at least one alternate in case somebody can't make it to a meeting, so the city is well represented. We have suggested that Wade Van Oy from the Water Department be the alternate for the city of Radford. Does that sound acceptable to council?
I think it makes
Steve,
sense.
again, is he okay with that?
And I spoke with him earlier today, and he agreed to serve.
So do
I
we have a
always say,
motion?
don't show up, and you're volunteered.
Do we have a motion to accept Wade as the alternate for Peppers Ferry?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, for our next piece, we do have an appropriation ordinance, but I'm going to break with our agenda just a little bit and ask the sheriff and our police chief to come on down to the podium real quick, and then we'll get to the ordinance real fast. I think this group of folks needs some recognition before we talk about the actual business here. We've been struggling some with property being left in Wildwood Park and along the Riverway Trail, and really trying to figure out how we can address that appropriately. I know I've had numerous conversations, as have members of council, with the chief and trying to figure everything out, and we just really couldn't get to a good solution. And Sheriff Armentrout did a great job getting members of his team as well as some trustees from the New River Valley Regional Jail to help us in this process and to clean up the park. And I just wanted to say thank you before we got any further with everything. But thank you so much for the work you've done. Thank you, guys. And I also want to thank our city police as well, because there's a role for them. They went through for many, many weeks trying to contact the folks that might have been camping in the park or that might have set those things up, to let them know this was not something we were going to have in Radford, to provide them with a list of resources and opportunities, and also give them a chance that if they wanted to remove that material, they had that opportunity, so that we didn't just go in and bulldoze everything. But thank you all so much for that effort. We're so appreciative. And now we'll get to the real reason for your appropriation this evening, but we just want to say thank you. For Appropriation Ordinance 1802.28, the TASER grant, the Sheriff's Office tasers are approaching expiration for operation. The department was awarded $36,448 grant through the Department of Criminal Justice Services to cover the cost of upgrading the equipment. The grant requires a local match of $12,149, which will be funded through NRVCS, and the total amount of the funding is $48,597. Sheriff, do you have anything you want to say about any of that?
I just want to thank Sergeant Moore for applying for this grant. He did a great job in getting it. Thank you for doing it. He's also our TASER instructor. And NRVCS, who doesn't have to match all of that because it is going to benefit our other deputies as well. We creatively worked out a way for that to happen and I know that the budget, that may not have happened to fund that grant. So thanks for them for stepping up and doing it. Thank you, Josh, for writing the grant.
Thank you so much. We want to make sure you have the appropriate equipment, and the Sheriff's Office does a great deal of transport for folks in various need and distress and things along that line, works closely with NRVCS, so that is the logical connection there as to why that's needed and to support their efforts, so we are so appreciative. Council,
Mayor Horton, can I just make one
Yes.
clerical? There's, the grant is, the AO is actually for $48,566. There's like a $30,000, there was something.
$48,566.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
We saved you $30.
$48,566. Okay.
You had wanted to do a live demonstration, and we had volunteered the city attorney.
It won't take but a second. 5, actually.
I mean, just right now, basically, if you have them.
We have a motion to adopt Appropriation Ordinance 1802.28 in the amount of $48,566.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Having heard 4 affirmative votes, we can dispense with a second reading if so desired. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Any discussion? Sorry, I jumped a little bit. We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Thank you, and thank you again, Sheriff. We appreciate all your efforts that you do for this city. Craig, what do you have for us this evening?
Thank you. Just a couple of things this evening. First off, we had, I think I mentioned this maybe at one of the previous various meetings we've had every Monday night for what seems like several months now, but we did have a good visit back on April 15th and 16th with representatives from FEMA. They were here for 2 days. Jenny and Charlie and several of our folks spent time taking them around to the various areas of the city that received storm damage. They were favorably impressed with what they saw, which we hope means good things down the road for us. I know Jenny is going to be following up with them, but the fact that they spent 2 days here and asked a lot of questions really seemed to indicate that we're excited about seeing some things come back to help with that. So that was good. I also wanted to mention, as most of you know, the city of Radford is a member of the Blue Ridge Power Agency. The Blue Ridge Power Agency is hosting their annual conference this week here in Radford. They'll be here Wednesday and Thursday, I think through Friday. That group consists of 9 agencies across primarily the western side of Virginia, but they'll have several events and activities at the Highlander, and I'm going to go over Wednesday night and welcome everybody to Radford, so glad to have them here with us this week. Lastly, I just wanted to once again thank everyone on council for their time and your dedication to the city. I know The last couple of months have been tough, with a lot of tough discussions and a lot of hard decisions. But I really do think this council took a big step forward last week in getting things on track for the future of the city. I know that some in the community are still have concerns, and I certainly understand and respect that, but these decisions that had to be made, and candidly that will need to continue to be made over the coming months, are difficult decisions. But I was so impressed and heard from several of my colleagues in the local government profession of how you guys came together when the going got really tough and really addressed the things that needed to be addressed. So just on behalf of myself and the time, thank you again. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Craig. We appreciate that. We appreciate you. I'm sure we'll all say a little something about thank you and the staff for all the hard work you all have done as well. Kelly, what do you have for us this evening?
I don't have a whole lot. Dan, thank you for coming up and telling us all about 2024. I'm sorry I missed the gala. I'd always participate in the auction, so I always enjoy that. You guys are doing some great things, and I hope businesses will continue to add to that. Sharon, thank you very much for all the work that you guys are doing, and the police department as well. That is a huge task, and I know we spoke a little bit earlier before the meeting. I know it's going to be a continued effort, so you guys just be safe when you're cleaning that up, but I know everybody in Radford really appreciates it. Other than that, I didn't have any other meetings. It was kind of just do all the other jobs and a little quiet, so I don't have anything else. Craig, thank you. I know I've said thank you a lot, but you've been amazing. We couldn't have done it without you, and we'll continue to do it with you as long as you'll be here. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Kelly. Jesse, what do you have?
I'm going to mimic Kelly here and keep it short. I did attend the ACE banquet in Giles, and that is always such a pleasure to be surrounded by so many amazing people who support our students in the area and all that they're accomplishing. I attended the Red and White Gala. I did leave with a couple dollars in my pocket, so I didn't overbid or buy random sinks or anything this year. Thank goodness. I attended a Tribute to Heroes meeting. That you're going to hear us use that instead of the Field of Honor, because apparently that name is already being utilized, and we received a nice little letter saying to cease and desist or pay money, a lot of money to use that. So it's now going to be referred to as the Tribute to Heroes, which is actually closer to what we're trying to do anyway. I am going to put out front, if you want to sponsor, there will be some of these out front. I'll make sure that there are additional copies. I only have a couple tonight, and I can't tell if Kelly's taking one or not. She just keeps going back and forth. So I'll make copies and keep that one because she'll want to sponsor. We had a chamber meeting, and it's such a privilege to be a part of this particular chamber. It's not my first chamber I've been involved in, but I'll tell you, it's probably the one I'm the most impressed with. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of that. And I love the fact that in this group, we have such very honest, solid conversations in regards to business in the community, and they are always looking at how they can be an asset to the community. I had, someone had mentioned in general to us about the downtown vacancies, and I know since then, we heard that concern, and we are communicating amongst one another, looking at what other communities are doing with vacancies downtown. So just so you know, we did hear that. That is a shared concern. Hopefully in the days to come, we'll have a little bit more to offer you in regards to some solutions that we are looking at. Tourism, I am still really wanting to get local music here, and I know that that's something we talked about that wouldn't cost a lot of money for the community. We have local musicians who are chomping at the bit to be able to come here, so I want to say now, I know getting through the budget, I really want to see local concert series still held. People in the community want to get out. They want to see each other in the summer, and there's no reason that we can't do that, maybe on a smaller scale, but it may even be a better scale. So I want to just keep that momentum going, and people are asking about that. Corporate tours is another one. I want us to start with the corporate tours again. I know we've had a little bit of delay, but that is something that you're going to, I know everyone's probably tired of hearing me say it, but I move it from month to month to month, and I feel like we need to get back on that. The tourism board, I think we had the great suggestion that we have people in the community that want to contribute their time and their energy, their effort, their intelligence, their skill sets, and we need to get that tourism board, because while we are in a position where we're not paying for as much, we certainly can get the community to chip in, and you hear it time and time again, they want to chip in, they want these things to happen. So if we can get that up and running again, and if we need a council member, because I just love committees, boards, and commissions, I would be more than happy to volunteer for that one as well, unless someone wants to arm wrestle for it, and that's fine. And the other thing that keeps moving forward that I hope we can look at now is selling the properties that we were looking at when Seth and I went out and reported back to council. I think we need to make that a real priority. I know that the EDA is working on signage for a couple of the properties. I think we're talking about maybe a zoning change potentially coming to us on one. I'll call you. The one of the ones that we spoke about one day, several days ago. You know that one. And really, that's all I have. And just to thank everyone in the community, because it has been very tough. But as far as much of some of the negativity that I have heard, I've really had some amazing people step forward and offer me support, encouragement, hugs, support of the community. They love Radford, and no one's giving up on Radford, and I just really appreciate the optimism with that. And Charlie, if you're still here afterwards and have your calendar, I want to get in to see you so we can meet and I could get a little bit more of your vision. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Jesse. Seth, what do you have?
Yeah, I have several things. One, I wanted to echo everyone's sentiment and thank the sheriff and the police chief and Gerald Dobbins for their efforts to really clean up some of the things in Wildwood. And I know that those efforts will be ongoing, but it really is appreciated to do that. Really appreciate that, and I know our citizens do as well. It's such an asset and a gem in this community. So just thank you. Just wanted to thank you guys for that. I also wanted to thank our police department. For their work on, there was a shooting, and their diligent work and all the efforts that they do to keep our community safe. I know that it's a tall task, and I just wanted to reiterate a big thank you to you guys and for all that you all do. I also wanted to thank the library. My daughter got another book from the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, and that makes her day and gives me at least an hour of entertainment because she's tied up in that. So thank you for that. I think it's a great program. I know that the mayor worked hard on that as well. So did want to say thank you for that. Wanted to say that Blue Gorilla is a jiu-jitsu academy downtown, and they are offering a free month of May for all the city staff and employees to come and train. So Melissa is already signed up, and so, yeah. That's right. But yeah, so anyway, I encourage you guys to take that up. That's a very nice gesture, a new business. I know that the chamber recognized them, and they're really making an effort to get ingrained in this community. So thank you to them. We're excited for the Glades project that's coming. That's going to move the needle for Radford and something that we really needed. So I wanted to end up with, this has been a long and challenging few months, not only for this council, but the city as a whole. I'm sure we're all ready to turn the page on this budget. I know I am. However, we cannot take our eyes off the goals and initiatives we have set. I feel a real sense of trust has been lost in the community, and we'll be held accountable for all the actions we do or do not take moving forward. There are steps that I and others feel are important to take in the days ahead. I want to be careful and not speak for everyone, but for myself, and let everyone else share their opinions as well. I would like for us to explore what a forensic audit from an outside agency would look like down the road, and there are many questions that we all want answers for, and as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing to hide. Council has all requested to be provided a monthly financial statement that can show us in real time where we are budget expenses and revenues today versus our budgeted amounts stand. I know that we've worked with Craig, and he's working on getting that for us. I can't thank him enough for all his efforts. In addition, at our organizational meeting in January, Council adopted having a financial update from the city manager at the last meeting of every month. That's been every single time topic of discussion, so I don't think we've had to worry about that, but that is something that we have to continue moving forward. Lastly, council adopted a $1 million reduction in personnel costs for the budget year 2026 in conjunction with the hiring freeze. I've asked Craig and staff to be able to help formulate or provide a template for council to be able to track and gauge our progress to ensure we're meeting this obligation. For us to reach the projected $3 million in reserves that can be applied to our deficit or future investment in our city staff, this simply must happen. I also believe in communicating a clear plan and message to our next city manager as that transition occurs with Craig, and the steps we have agreed to is critical. To be able to move the needle and not at the expense of our citizens or through a cut to one of our departments, it has to come by new revenue generation and economic development. There needs to be an all-out effort to grow our industrial base and maximize the assets we have. Continuing to market and move the West Radford Commerce Park while aggressively promoting and advertising the open opportunities we have has to be a top priority. With that being said, I do firmly believe it's time to turn the page on this budget, come together as a community, and build for the days ahead. We have openly established where we are and identified several of the first steps we plan to take. I feel very strongly about us being relentless in our cost savings approach and having the systems of checks and balances in place that help us honor the commitments we have made. I do not plan on recapping or harping on our current condition at each meeting. It's time to build on the many positives that Radford has going for it. My hope is that the Radford community and Bobcat Nation will rise to the occasion and help see Radford through this tough time. Radford is and will continue to be a special place. So with that, I will be done for the night. Thank you.
Seth. Guy, what do we have?
With all that's been said, I don't know that there's anything that I can add, only say, I support and back up and ditto everything that's been said.
Well, thank you very much. I have a couple things I wanted to point out, some things that are coming up. Next weekend, not this coming weekend, but the weekend of the 9th and 10th of May is spring commencement for Radford University. Friday evening is the graduate ceremony, and then Saturday is the undergraduate ceremony. It is going to be a little bit different this year. I think it's still no ticket required, but there are going to be designated points of entry and exit, so just plan early to get there if you're planning to be there. They will have some security checkpoints that folks will be going through. May 21st, the Women's Resource Center of the New River Valley is having their annual fundraiser event at the Hahn Horticulture Garden from 5 to 7 p.m. That's at 200 Garden Lane in Blacksburg. Women's Resource Center provides such a wonderful asset to this community, to the New River Valley, and if you can help support them, we ask that you participate in their annual fundraiser or consider a gift to their organization. I'll reiterate the 5 after 5 that the chambers are all putting on coming up in June, July, August, September, and October. Hopefully you can be a part of those activities. Even if you're not a golfer, you can come out and participate and communicate. Then tomorrow evening, Revitalizing Radford, a retail and business design charrette. Tuesday, April 29th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. at 1085 East Main Street in conjunction with Taylor Hollow Management in downtown Radford. Come on out and look at the possibilities for our community. To everyone's point, what Seth was just saying, what Jesse and Kelly and everyone said earlier, we're building on wonderful things happening in the city of Radford, and there's so much opportunity here. I mentioned a little bit earlier when we talked about the Glades. That's a multi-million-dollar investment that is on top of well over $100 million of investment in the last few years in the city. People believe in this community, and they believe there's a strong, bold future here. It definitely has been a challenging time as we have uncovered some things that we were unaware of, as we have explored some challenges that we've had to face. And to Jesse's point and Seth's as well, there have been a lot of wonderful people who've come out and really shown their support. There's also been a number of naysayers who have criticized pretty much every move we made, one way or the other, whether it's an increased revenue or a cut or some adjustment or anything we're trying to do. I will say I'm very appreciative of those who come out and participate and come up to that microphone and that podium. That's been there the entire time we've had a council here. And certainly we encourage you to come out. If there's something you see that we don't see, if there's something you need to let us know, in addition to communicating with us privately, you can come out and share it at these meetings. And I think that's an important part of this, because One of the biggest questions that I think we've heard is, how come we just didn't know? How come we didn't understand everything that was happening? And we certainly asked questions. We certainly worked to try to get answers all throughout the process, and we certainly tried to explore every single avenue. I think it's challenging when you uncover things that you weren't aware of before and you try to continue to move forward. But this entire council has worked professionally. This could have devolved into something very, very different, where the council was blaming each other, pointing fingers, fighting amongst themselves, trying to one-up each other and putting each other in a horrible position. You saw 5 people up here working professionally with our professional staff, with Craig Meadows, with our entire team here at the City of Radford, trying to get to the root of the problem and solve the problem. And we're not done, and there's plenty of work left to do, and there's plenty of challenges that we have moving forward. But much of the heavy lift has been started, and we're carrying it forward as we go. And I'm so thankful that everyone is participating and helping. Bill Fleischer, thank you for coming out this evening and making your comments about volunteers. We have so many wonderful people in this community who step up every day to help, and we will gladly accept appointments to boards and commissions, anyone who wants to serve through our more formal process, anyone who has an idea to help with a project or a program or anything along that line, anyone who wants to communicate with any of us or city staff for ways to make this community better. We're so appreciative, and absolutely we would love that. Speaking of volunteers, this was an incredible volunteer weekend in the city of Radford with Arbor Day activities on Friday and Saturday. We had wonderful tree plantings throughout the city and just a tremendous effort from full-time residents, from some members of the university community, the provost of the university, and members of the staff coming out. Rotary had folks there. It was a wonderful turnout in every way, shape, and form, and we were able to plant dozens of trees here in the city to beautify our community and to further rebuild and revitalize and refresh Radford. I also wanted to point out the Shaquem James Memorial Tournament was held by volunteers in honor of that young man up at the Radford Recreation Center, and they raised money for that scholarship. Again, wonderful, solid efforts. Our VFW held a fundraiser for their activities on Saturday down at the VFW Hall. There were wonderful things happening across this community. Then finally, our Bobcats up at the high school had a fantastic greenhouse sale as well as other CTE activities. They had some things they made a machine shop. There's a cookbook for our students from our students and our staff at the high school. There were bake sale goods there. Just wonderful things happening across Radford. Seth mentioned turning the page. We want to turn the page because focusing on our challenges, while we need to work on things and while there are things that we are constantly trying to make better, will not further advance us. Focusing on the opportunities, the possibilities, and continuing to work together as a community and sharing those things as often as we can move us forward every day. I'm really thankful for all the folks that are here and thankful for everyone who does the hard work for this community every day. And with that, we do need to go into a closed session to talk a little bit about the future of Radford as we deal with some things related to personnel as well as consultation with legal counsel. Seth, if you'll take us into closed session.
I'd like to make a motion to convene a closed meeting for the purposes of discussion or consideration of prospective candidates for employment and performance of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1.
And would you also add 2.23711A8 for the purposes of consultation with legal counsel?
And I would also like to add it for pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A8 for the purposes of consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel, specifically to discuss audit options available to the city.
So we have a motion for closed session. Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Thank you all very much. We will see you soon.
Oh, no, you're good.